Well, coronavirus cases and hospitalizations are breaking records in Texas for a second straight week. Governor Greg Abbott joins us now from from Austin, to discuss some of these numbers. Now, Governor, you have urged Texans to wear a mask, which is one of the best ways to slow the spread of this deadly virus. Why not allow local leaders to enforce mask policies that extend outside of business and into other crowded areas like city parks and streets?
Well, several things. One is that we want to make sure that individuals do have the freedom, like if they just go to their mailbox or go for a walk down in their neighborhood and they're walking alone or something like that, there's no one they would come into contact with whom they could spread the coronavirus to. And so we want to allow individuals to still have that latitude. That said, there have been some changes that I made today right before coming on the show. Let me give you an example of one, and that is I did authorize local officials to have the authority to establish regulations in gatherings of 100 or more people. This was intended to allow local authorities in particular to regulate gatherings for 4th of July celebrations. We did not specify what types of restrictions or regulations they could impose. It's possible they could require masks in such an environment. It's going to be up to local officials in that regard.
Well, Governor, why wouldn't you allow local officials to insist that individuals wear a mask out in public? I mean, if they're all by themselves, that's one thing. But if they're in the park and they're interacting with people, why can't they have that authority?
At this time, the way the strategy works is to ensure that when people are in what are called congregate settings or close-up settings, it could be in a store or other type of setting like that, where they would be more likely to be possibly transmitting COVID-19 to somebody else, that is the appropriate time for someone to be wearing a mask. The other component of this is to ensure we don't wind up in a situation like what happened in Dallas, Texas, where the county judge got unhinged and wound up putting somebody in jail. And we don't want to inflict possible jail time on someone in public who may be just with a friend and chooses not to wear a mask. What needs to be done is a level-headed approach as it concerns the imposition of wearing a mask. And the way to approach that is when people are gathered together in a setting like when they go shopping.
Well, Governor, you've been consistent in using the word abundant to describe hospital beds across the state. However, here in Bexar County, the number of people hospitalized has quadrupled in the past 2 weeks. The Bexar County Health System's stress score is labeled as high, moving towards severe. And in Houston, the largest pediatric hospital in the country is now taking adult patients to free up bed space. What is your plan to help hospitals that are being overwhelmed?
First, understand this, and that is that right before coming on the show, I had a visit with hospital leaders in Houston, and earlier my staff had visited with hospital leaders in San Antonio, and we looked at all the numbers. And the hospital leaders in Houston are insistent. They still have abundant hospital capacity for anybody who comes down with COVID-19. The same is true in San Antonio. It is a fact, a very important fact, that the number of people hospitalized with COVID has increased. But it also remains a fact, as we're speaking right now, that the hospital leaders in all of these regions that you're talking about, they are insistent that they still have the capacity to treat anybody who gets COVID-19.
All right, Governor, thank you for joining us.
Sure, my pleasure.